property values are continuing to rise despite the pandemic and all the other forecasts about doom and gloom for the economy. The real estate market in Utah is one of the strongest markets in the country, and anybody that's bought a home within the last 2 to 5 years has made a substantial gain on that property. How would you like to see how that works to get that money tax-free up to $500,000? That's what we're discussing in thecreditjungle.com today. This is George Anderson. Thanks for joining. And one of the questions that I ask people, especially when they're coming in and they're selling a home or they're thinking about moving out of a home and converting it into a rental property. There's a lot of great strategies and everything else to be able to do with that, but one of the things that comes into that is how does it affect your capital gains if you've owned a property for less than 2 years, or if you had a property that you bought as a rental property and are selling it, or if you bought it as a primary residence and have now rented it for more than 3 years. Each one of those things can trigger a capital gain, so I want to explain how you can have, as a married couple, you can have up to $500,000 of tax-free capital gains. As an individual, you can have $250,000. So this is how it works, is you have to have over a 5-year period. So we're going to start this timeline here, and we're going to have yours 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need to have lived in the home and occupied it as your primary residence for 2 years, 24 months out of the last 60. Okay, so you could have lived in the house here for 1 year, converted it here to a rental. Moved back into the house here, lived in it, and then had it rented out here as a rental. You get up here to the end of this 60-month period here. If you decide to sell the home on month 61, you are going to pay a capital gains tax on that property because it has been used for a rental more than 3 of the previous 5 years. So I ask people these questions when they come in. How long have you owned your home? Has it been your primary residence? You know, just get into some of these questions. It's very, very seldom that somebody would ever have an excess of the $500,000 in there. But even if you can save somebody a few $1,000s, and sometimes it's $10,000 and $20,000 in taxes, it's worth understanding how this works. So if somebody has lived in the house for less than 24 months and they have a gain on that, it's subject to capital gains tax. And it's going to be long-term capital gains if it's over 12 months. But if it's less than a year, it can be short-term capital gains tax. I'm not a CPA. These are things that you need to talk about with your accountant when you go to file your taxes. But I have had a handful of situations in this year already when in talking with somebody that they've got a rental property, I said, well, how long has it been a rental? And he says, well, it's been a rental for about a couple of years now. And they're thinking about refinancing it or doing something like that. And I'll say, did you ever live in the home? He says, oh yeah, we used to live in the home. We lived there for 5 years and we decided it was a great area. We wanted to keep it as a rental. We've been renting it for 2 years. And I've actually told him, I said, you know, it's probably not worth it for you to refinance that home if you've got a gain in there. And a lot of these homes might have a gain of $150,000, $250,000. And I said, you know, you might want to consider selling that home if you're not going to move back into it. Because they were in the home maybe for 3 years, and now they've had it rented out for, they lived in the home for 2 years, less than 2 years, and now it's been rented out coming up on the 3 years. Yeah, refinancing it and getting a lower rate might be great, but if the intention sometime down the road might be to sell that home down the road, it's much better to do it before you have the capital gains tax on it. So anyway, there's just a lot of little nuances that come into getting somebody a mortgage. I'm not a tax planner, but I understand how this stuff works. And I always ask that you go and get the advice of a competent professional in that specific area. But this is a heads up because there's a lot of people that have bought their homes. They have a lot of equity in them right now. And if you can avoid paying taxes, that's a bonus. So thanks for coming into thecreditjungle.com today. This is George Anderson. You can push button, get mortgage professional. And thanks again for your time, and I hope to talk to you soon. Have a great day.